You remember what happened when gas stations dried up. One news alert. And by sundown, every pump was empty. But that was just the beginning. Because when the next blackout hits, it won't be gasoline that disappears first. It'll be the quiet things, the cheap things, the things no one's thinking about until they're already gone. Basic essentials you rely on every single day without even realizing it. But when the grid goes down and the shelves start emptying, these are the first things people grab. Not because they're flashy, but because without them, everything else stops working. No warning, no backup, no time to think. In this video, I'm showing you 9 blackout essentials that'll disappear faster than gasoline, and they're probably sitting in your house right now, unnoticed and unprotected. Before we dive in, understand this. This channel isn't here to scare you, it's here to keep you sharp. We track real trends, not rumors, patterns, not panic. And if you've ever watched shelves go empty during a blackout, you already know knowledge shared at the right time isn't just helpful, it's survival. Number 1, tissue box covers. It's probably sitting on your bathroom counter or living room table right now, a cheap, decorative cover for a tissue box. Maybe it's plastic, maybe it's wood. Either way, you've never thought twice about it. But in a blackout or grid down event, that same forgotten item becomes a hygiene shield and the first thing people regret not grabbing. Let's break it down. When electricity and water shut off, hygiene becomes survival. You've got fewer clean surfaces, fewer clean hands, and suddenly, that open box of tissues? It's now exposed to dust, moisture, bugs, and everyone's dirty fingers, especially if you're sharing space with neighbors, extended family, even strangers in a shelter. Every time someone reaches for a tissue, they're touching the box, coughing nearby, or brushing against surfaces you can't sanitize properly. And guess what spreads fastest in these conditions? Viruses. A tissue box cover creates a barrier. It shields the stack. It keeps the top layers dry. It minimizes contact and keeps things organized. And when panic sets in and people start snatching up hygiene supplies, these little $2 plastic shields disappear fast. In post-disaster shelters, Red Cross and FEMA crews often use plastic wrap or towels to try and keep tissue supplies clean. But those are last-minute improvisations. Smart households already have box covers on hand, lightweight, wipeable, and stackable. And if you've got kids, the elderly, or immunocompromised folks in your home, this tiny layer of protection suddenly becomes a serious asset. Still think it's just decor? In any extended grid-down scenario, the smallest tools make the biggest difference. Everyone stocks tissues. Nobody stocks the thing that keeps them safe. But now that you know, you're not just ahead, you're prepared. Throw 2 in your next supply run, 1 for home, 1 for your go bag. Because when the lights go out and everything gets dirty fast, the cleanest box in the room will be yours. Number 2, door draft blockers. You've probably seen them online, those foam tubes or fabric snakes that slide under the bottom of your door. Some people use them to keep out cold air in winter. Others use them for noise control. But in a blackout, that simple little draft blocker can become the difference between a room you can survive in and one you can't. Here's why. When the power grid fails, so does central heating. You might have a fireplace. You might have a propane heater. But what you won't have is efficiency. Every degree of warmth you generate will try to escape, and the biggest exit point? That tiny gap under your doors. It might look harmless, but it bleeds heat like a busted pipe. And when outside temps drop, so does your indoor survivability. Draft blockers seal that gap. They trap warm air inside. They keep cold air out, and they reduce the fuel, firewood, or energy you need to stay functional. Think of it this way. Every ounce of heat you save is an ounce of fuel you don't burn. Over time, that's not just comfort, that's strategy. And it's not just cold weather. During hot blackouts, these same blockers keep cool air trapped inside. If you're using battery-powered fans or shaded ventilation setups, you need to maintain that air pocket. Otherwise, you're just cooling the street. In disasters like the 2021 Texas freeze, people scrambled to insulate homes. Stores ran out of tape, blankets, and yes, draft blockers. Because no one thinks about airflow until their living room feels like a freezer. So why do they vanish fast? Because they're cheap, easy to use, and they actually work. Which means once people realize their value, they're gone. Don't wait until your room starts frosting over. Grab a few draft blockers, label them for each door, and stash extras. Because in a blackout, sealing heat inside isn't luxury, it's survival. Number 3. Kitchen aprons, cloth or plastic. You've got canned food, you've got backup burners, you've got water stored. But here's what most people forget. When you're cooking in crisis mode, the mess doesn't just go on the counter, it goes on you. And that's where the humble kitchen apron, the one hanging on your pantry hook right now, becomes survival gear. Let's talk reality. In a grid-down scenario, you're not just cooking differently. You're cooking in tighter spaces, over flame or gas, without proper ventilation or lighting. There's no dishwasher. There's no laundry. So every time you splatter grease, spill water, or drop sauce on your clothes, those stains stay. And dirty clothes? That's bacteria, smell, and long-term discomfort in a time where hygiene can't be compromised. An apron solves all of that. One simple layer protects your clothes, your body, and your morale. It's not about looking tidy, it's about staying functional. When you're doing dishes with limited water, refilling jugs, handling fuel, or prepping raw food in less than ideal conditions, that barrier makes the difference between manageable and miserable. Plastic aprons? Even better. They're wipeable, water-resistant, and reusable. Cloth ones? You can rotate 2, air-dry one, use the other. That's basic field hygiene 101 something FEMA and Red Cross crews use in mobile kitchens and relief stations every day. Here's the kicker. No one stocks them. People hoard gloves, masks, sanitizer, and completely skip the one thing that keeps everything underneath clean. During the early COVID lockdowns, food bank volunteers ran out of aprons faster than canned beans. Why? Because when systems slow down, your clothes become your uniform, and dirty uniforms don't last. So pick up a couple, one plastic, one cloth. Label them. Fold them in your emergency tote. Because in a blackout, the guy's still cooking in clean clothes? That's not luck, that's smart prep. Number 4. Door street operas. You don't think about them, you barely even notice them. But when the grid shuts down and airflow shifts, door stoppers become one of the most quietly critical tools in your entire house. Let's get into it. During a blackout, your HVAC system goes silent. That means no controlled airflow, no central heating or cooling, no pressure regulation. Windows open, doors slam, drafts whip through hallways. And suddenly, something as simple as keeping a door in place becomes a major frustration or a safety hazard. That's where door stoppers come in the rubber wedges, the weighted base types, or even magnetic latches. In normal life, they're used to prop doors open during cleaning or moving furniture. But in collapse mode, they keep sheltered doors from slamming in wind. They hold cracked windows open without banging. They secure indoor airflow setups when you're trying to ventilate with fans, tarps, or passive cooling. Think about this. In shared shelters or homes packed with people, a slamming door isn't just annoying, it's a sleep disruptor, a panic trigger, or a flat-out security risk. FEMA guidance often stresses the need for calm, stable interior environments, and physical stability starts with small things like doors that stay put. Plus, in storm prep or blackout drills, people often wedge furniture or stuff towels under doors. That works once, but try that for days with limited light, with kids running around. It's a mess. So why do these disappear fast? Because once someone experiences even one night of slamming doors during a windstorm or blackout, they buy 5 of them the next day. But by then, shelves are empty. If you've got more than 2 doors in your house, you need extras now. Rubber wedges, magnetic holds, even weighted cloth stoppers. Toss one in every room. Because when the noise gets loud and the house starts shifting with pressure, the quietest tool becomes the one that saves your sanity. Number 5. Window insulation film kits. They're usually bought in November, used once a year, and forgotten by spring. But those clear plastic film kits, the kind you stick over your windows and shrink with a hairdryer? In a grid-down blackout, they go from winter prep to full-blown survival gear. Here's why. When the power fails in cold months, your biggest enemy isn't darkness, it's exposure. And windows? They're the #1 spot where your heat disappears. FEMA estimates up to 30% of residential heat loss happens through windows even when they're shut. That means all the blankets, propane heaters, and emergency candles in the world won't matter if your warm air is leaking out every glass pane in the house. That's where insulation film kits shine. They're cheap. lightweight, easy to apply, and once installed, they create a sealed air pocket that traps heat inside like double-paned glass on a budget. In a blackout, that tiny difference in insulation can add hours of comfort, slow the temperature drop, and reduce your dependence on fuel-based heat. But here's the catch, they're seasonal. Most stores stock them for just a few weeks before winter. After that, they're gone. So if the collapse hits in February and you try to grab a kit from Walmart, good luck. You'll be competing with every other freezing family in town, and those $10 kits will become $50 black market trade items overnight. During the 2021 Texas freeze, people used shrink film, plastic wrap, even cling film to trap heat in bedrooms and block icy drafts. The ones who had real insulation film, they stayed warmer, longer, and used far less fuel doing it. Still think it's just a home improvement item? Stock a few kits now, one per room. Label them. Keep them sealed. Because when your house turns cold and every minute of warmth counts, those flimsy sheets of plastic might be the only thing standing between you and the freeze. Number 6. Tea kettle. In today's world, the humble tea kettle is just background noise, something grandma uses for morning tea or the occasional herbal brew. But when the grid goes down and your fancy kitchen appliances turn into dead weight, that simple stovetop kettle becomes one of the most valuable tools you own. Let's break it down. When there's no power, your electric kettle, microwave, and hot water tap are all useless. But your body? It still needs heat. For cooking, for drinking, for cleaning. And nothing heats water more safely, efficiently, and consistently over flame or coals than a classic metal tea kettle. Whether you're running a gas stove, wood burner, camping stove, or even an open flame, a tea kettle lets you boil water fast. And boiling isn't just about making tea, it's how you sterilize. How you make dehydrated meals edible. How you prepare baby formula. How you clean wounds when medical supplies run low. According to FEMA and the CDC, boiling is the most reliable way to make water safe when filtration isn't an option. That means if you don't have a tool designed for safe, spill-free boiling like a stovetop kettle, you're already behind. And it's not just the heat, it's the spout. Try pouring boiling water from a pot into a bottle or cup in the dark. One slip, and now you're burned, injured, or contaminated. A kettle gives you control, a handle, a lid, a focused pour. In survival conditions, that's the difference between usable and dangerous. During California's rolling blackouts, families without kettles scrambled to find ways to heat formula or disinfect water. Camping stores sold out of kettles in days. Why? Because the electric ones were useless and the stovetop ones were gold. So if yours is collecting dust, dust it off. Clean it. Test it. And if you don't have one, get one stainless steel, not plastic, because when the lights go out, boiling water isn't a luxury, it's your lifeline. Number 7, rope packs. Ask most people what they'd grab in a blackout, and rope never makes the list. It's not glamorous, it's not high-tech. It's not even on the radar until you're in a grid-down world and suddenly realize you need to hang, tie, lift, drag, seal, or carry something, and you've got nothing but your shoelaces. That's when a simple pack of household rope, the kind sold in dollar stores, hardware aisles, or bundled in garages, becomes one of the most valuable, multi-purpose survival tools in your home. Let's get real. When the grid goes down, so does modern convenience. You're hanging wet clothes without a dryer. You're sealing off broken doors. You're tying up tarps, rationing supplies, creating privacy partitions, even dragging heavy bins or water jugs. None of that happens without rope. And here's where most people get it wrong. They assume rope is rope. But quality, thickness, and type matter. Nylon rope holds weight and resists moisture. Twisted poly rope handles tension. Braided cords work better for tying knots. If you've only got one kind, you're limited. But a small, pre-packed variety, that's real prep. In disaster zones, FEMA and Red Cross responders use rope constantly to section off areas, hang lighting, suspend water bladders, or support temporary structures. They don't rely on duct tape alone. They don't figure it out later. They know rope equals control. During hurricanes, blackouts, and refugee crises, rope disappears fast. Not because people want it, but because they suddenly need it. For tarps, for buckets, for bundling firewood, for pulling fuel tanks from tight spaces. And the sad part? It was in stock the whole time, dirt cheap, sitting on a hook at Home Depot, ignored. Want to prep smart? Don't just buy rope, bundle it. 10 foot, 25 foot, 50 foot. Keep some thin, some thick. Label it. Store it dry. Add carabiners or zip ties. Because when the lights go out and the wind picks up, the person with rope can tie down safety while everyone else is scrambling. Number 8. Silicone bottle brushes. When people prep for blackouts, they think about food, water, flashlights. But hygiene? That's where most folks fall short. And when there's no running water, no dishwashers, and limited clean cloths, one tiny tool quietly becomes a game changer: the silicone bottle brush. Sounds basic, right? But in collapse scenarios, this $3 item does more for your health than half the gear people fight over. Let's break it down. Without water pressure, your sink turns into a biohazard fast. You're reusing cups, water jugs, thermoses, maybe even baby bottles, but you can't wash them the normal way. Sponges grow mold. Dishcloths start smelling in 2 days. And regular brushes? They trap bacteria and take forever to dry. That's where silicone wins. It doesn't absorb, it doesn't rot, it air dries fast. And the flexible bristles let you get deep inside bottles, jars, and narrow containers without scratching or holding onto food particles. You rinse it once, shake it dry, and it's good to go again. In refugee camps and disaster shelters, aid workers often bring silicone brushes for shared kitchen kits because they last longer, stay cleaner, and don't become a second contamination source. FEMA doesn't call them out directly, but their sanitation manuals constantly stress the need for non-absorbent reusable cleaning tools in low-water environments. That's this right here. Here's another overlooked benefit: fuel conservation. If you're heating water to clean gear, you want to use as little as possible. A silicone brush scrubs effectively with less water, less soap, and zero waste. That means less fuel burned, less water used, and longer-lasting supplies. During Puerto Rico's extended blackout, families who had reusable bottles struggled to keep them clean. Many resorted to bleach or boiling, both risky if overused. Those with silicone tools cleaned safely, efficiently, and stayed healthier longer. So do you need 10 of them? Number. Just 2. 1 for dishes, 1 for water gear. Label them. Store them clean. And don't wait till your jug smells like mildew to realize you needed one. Because in the dark days after collapse, the cleanest gear wins, and the one who keeps it that way? He's holding the brush. Number 9. Non-slip drawer liners. Most people only use them to stop forks from sliding around. But in a blackout or collapse, non-slip drawer liners become one of the most surprisingly useful tools in your survival setup, and not in the way you think. These lightweight, grippy sheets are more than kitchen extras. When movement, instability, and clutter take over, they help create order. Let's say you're in a blackout. Your counters are crowded. You're rationing supplies. You're stacking gear, tools, food, a small bump, and everything shifts or falls. That's when these liners shine, cut to size and placed under gear. They keep items steady, quiet, and safe. They also double as insulation layers. In freezing temps, you can line food prep areas, create dry pads for charging stations, or use them under cookware to prevent sliding on slick surfaces. Some people even repurpose them for drying herbs, lining shelves, or protecting battery packs from vibration. Unlike foam or towels, these liners don't absorb moisture, don't attract mold, and can be rinsed and reused. During early COVID lockdowns, some aid stations used drawer liners in mobile kitchens to keep pans from sliding while cooking on propane burners in trucks. It worked. So why are they overlooked? Because nobody thinks they matter until their only flashlight rolls off the table, cracks, and now you're in total darkness. Keep a roll or two, cut them down. Line shelves, toolkits, even bug-out bags. Because when the system fails, and everything's shaking, rattling, or falling apart, grip becomes power. You've just seen 9 of the most ignored everyday items that'll vanish faster than you think, not because they're flashy, but because when the system collapses, simplicity wins. No one's throwing punches over high-end gear. They're fighting for the things that actually make day-to-day survival work tools that keep you clean, warm, organized, and sane when everything else breaks down. Most folks will walk past these items 100 times and never think twice until they're gone. But you've got the edge now. You've seen what's coming. This channel doesn't hype panic. We break patterns. We study behavior. And we share the kind of insight that's useless after the shelves are empty, but priceless before they are. So if you're done following the crowd and ready to stay 3 moves ahead, hit that subscribe button right now. Because in the next collapse, it's not just what you've got that matters, it's what you remembered to grab when no one else was looking. And if even one of these items caught you off guard, drop a comment below. Let's make sure someone else doesn't miss it like you almost did. Because in the end, it's not the big stuff that breaks people, it's the small stuff they never saw coming.